For the past 4 decades, the mullah's revolutionary creed of radicalized Islam has left nothing but death and suffering in its wake. Pursuing their constitutional objective of spreading revolution to create a fundamentalist Shiite caliphate, the clerical regime has vigorously backed Bashar al-Assad's bloody civil war in Syria. It has trained, financed, and commanded the brutal Shia militia in Iraq.
Today, the mullahs are at their weakest possible point. This is why they need to suppress the people of Iran and to export terrorism and war more than any other time in the past. On behalf of the Iranian resistance, I call on parliamentarians in Europe, particularly both legislative chambers in the UK and the Parliament of Ireland, to take the lead in adopting a new firm policy towards Iran. In brief, this policy includes 3 elements. 1 is human rights for the people of Iran. The second is a comprehensive embargo against the religious dictatorship. And the third is the recognition of the Iranian people's resistance for freedom and democracy. It is essential that Britain, Ireland, and other European countries designate the IRGC as a terrorist group, shut down the regime's embassies, centers that the mullahs are carrying out terrorist operations through them, and expel the regime's agents from European soil.
We know that the regime is a very serious threat to all of our interests. We know that the regime has attacked our embassy in Tehran, it's engaged in cyber attacks against the UK Parliament, and now we have its diplomat who is about to be prosecuted for terrorism, threatening the court and European countries with even more terrorism if he's convicted for the terrorist charge.
The regime is heavily involved in fostering instability and conflict and terrorism in Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen, and Gaza. They, for example, supply huge amounts of arms to proxies like Hezbollah. They are also known to be providing assistance to Hamas, Al-Qaeda, and the Taliban.
The Iranian regime has historically used terrorist attacks and assassination against Iranian dissidents in Europe and killed members of the NCRI in Switzerland, in Italy, and in Turkey. The terrorism against the Iranian resistance is the other side of the regime's internal repression and aims to eliminate any credible and democratic opposition to this regime.
Is it an important conference? Yes, of course it is. I recall that on many occasions when, amidst popular protests against the despotic regime in Iran, what happens is you get a very negative response from the regime over there.
This is a regime which engages in the most brutal of domestic policy objectives. It's a regime who intend to eliminate all opposition. And they're willing to use anyone in order to achieve their aims. That's why
its record of human rights violations has worsened, its meddling and destruction in other countries in the Middle East, and its own terrorist operations and plots in other parts of the world, including particularly in Europe, have increased. These have all happened due to emboldening the regime through a policy of silence, leniency and passiveness, where we think